chances are you get sweaty palms and weak knees when you have to speak in public. On the next Lifestyle magazine, we'll help you overcome that.
This is Hello Channel.
When people have been asked what they fear doing the most, can you guess what comes to the top of the list? Not driving in bad traffic, not having an operation, not being confined in small places. Rather, speaking in public puts the grip of fear on a lot of us. And for the shy among us, even a one-on-one conversation can make our palms sweat. Today, Clifton Davis and Tammy McGrew will talk to two people who used to be petrified to speak in public. One of them was even a stand-up comic, and now they help others overcome the fear they had. You'll be surprised by some of the other benefits that they discovered as well. I'm Dan Matthews, and this is Lifestyle Magazine.
Thanks, everyone, and welcome to Lifestyle Magazine. When Lee Glickstein stood up at his bar mitzvah and squeaked, "Today I am a man," everyone laughed. And from that day on, fear of public speaking gained a strong foothold in his mind. But he faced his fears head on and became a stand-up comic. Then became so nervous up front that he bombed horribly. Today, however, he is the author of this book, Be Heard Now. And more, he helps people to overcome this fear of speaking in public. Please welcome Lee Glickstein. Thanks for being a part of Lifestyle Magazine today.
Thank you, sir.
My goodness, that must have been frightening when your voice cracked at your bar mitzvah and all those people looking.
Today I am a man. That's how it came out. Yeah. I was 13, but puberty was just a rumor.
I get you. So what motivated you to write a book?
Well, I had the world's worst stage fright until my 40s. I even had stage fright one-on-one. And I thought it was because I didn't know what to say and I was scared to speak. And what it turned out, for years of desperation to find my voice and contribute to the world and be able to be in front of people and be able to talk eye to eye, I found out that the problem was, as with all people with stage fright, is we have trouble being listened to. We have trouble connecting with the listening. So when I discovered that all I had to do was learn how to get listened to, pay attention to the listening, it changed my life, and I had to write the book to tell people how they could get the support to learn how to make that subtle shift.
You know, Lee, you jumped. You made a big jump from bar mitzvah to 40.
Boy,
yeah.
I was scared the whole time.
Oh, you were scared the whole time, but you did this at your bar mitzvah, and now what made you think you needed to speak in public?
Well, it wasn't just, it was until my bar mitzvah in
Right.
school.
Right.
That was just a symptom, a typical thing. But it was that I felt, many of us have this passion. We have a gift. We have something we need to distribute, to contribute to the world. And I didn't even know what it was because I didn't know how to speak it.
So,
See?
but
So
and there's a lot of people that would not recognize that in themselves. What made you think I have something to offer to the world?
Well, I thought I was funny, so I wanted to do comedy. I thought I could help people with their problems. I could talk to people, and I thought I understood. I have this understanding, I believed, of human nature and a way to contribute and counsel people. I wanted to be a therapist.
So what was your first speaking experience after your bar mitzvah?
Well, I did stand-up comedy. I moved to
Okay.
San Francisco from New York, and I did stand-up comedy. I memorized every single joke, every single line. And, I was able to as long as they laughed at the first joke,
You were okay.
I could remember the second one because I was just absolutely in my script. But if they didn't laugh at the first joke, which they hardly ever did.
Wasn't a good one, huh? So
I
Clifton,
froze.
Forgot.
I
were you
froze
ever
and couldn't. I
afraid?
bombed.
Oh, are you
On
kidding?
stage?
Oh, absolutely. When I first started, I couldn't stand on two legs. They would knock so loud, nobody could hear me sing. So I stood on one leg and let the other knee knock. But no
so
problem.
you weren't just a born is there such a thing?
I got
Very
scared. I was scared in the beginning,
As a-
and even today, before I sing a song on television, today.
Still today.
Absolutely petrified. But the moment the first note comes out, I go, oh yeah, I can do this.
I can do this.
Yeah. Well, very few people, to answer that question, are born speakers. Most, people like John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King, perhaps were. But most of us, we need some support to get to that point.
All right. So now you've created a course to help people overcome their fear. Now, people have different reasons they're afraid. It's not all because of one reason. This fear of speaking in public. They have many, many reasons. How are you going to overcome all those reasons with one methodology?
They think they have different reasons. They have different symptoms. So, for instance, some people can speak from a script, but if they didn't have a script, they can't ad-lib. Other people can speak when there's no script, but with a script they can't. So they think they have different reasons. But I believe it all comes down, and from my experience it does, to not being listened to when we were very young.
And so
And if
if
we're
we
not
can get over the fear of being listened to,
listened to, and what that requires is asking the group in these speaking circles that I've created to listen in a certain way. So I coach the listening. And the speaking comes naturally. That's
Wow.
the switch I made that
I wish
creates
I had
this.
time to really get into this right this minute. We can recommend this book. Get Over Your Fear. Be heard now. Next, we'll meet a man who found an unexpected benefit in overcoming his fear of public speaking. He lost weight. Stay with us.
I'm feeling like Michael Dennison.
Give your children a brighter future. Watch Hello Channel.
We are now joined by Barry Hughes, who used to be, well, considerably different than he is now. Barry, why don't you tell us about how you were before you met Lee?
Before I met Lee, I had very bad stage fright, and I had a very serious compulsive eating problem. And after I met Lee, my stage fright diminished considerably. I got very comfortable being in front of groups, and something happened to my eating history like magic overnight from being in a speaking circle with Lee Glickstein. And it had, my interpretation is that it had to do with allowing people into my life, connecting with them, and receiving a kind of nourishment that I think I spent my whole adult life trying to get from
So Barry, were you
food.
on the stage? Were you needing to be on the stage?
I seem to make myself be on stage. I wrote a play, I did a one-man show, I constantly put myself in excruciating.
So you chose a public profession and you were scared to death, and
Well, it
Lee, you
wasn't-
did the same thing.
Absolutely. Some of us just can't help it.
But
We belong there, like
that
you do.
demands a follow-up question. Why would you do that to
Why would
yourself?
you pick your most miserable thing to do and say that's what I'm going to do?
Well, yeah, but that's what they said about great bullfighters. That scared us. They're absolutely scared of doing it, but their soul perhaps is drawing them to do it. Winston Churchill had stage fright. He stuttered, but he was drawn to it, and that's what, perhaps that's why he was so afraid, because he knew that he needed in a bigger way to get out there. Some people need to be out there. Don't you two feel that about yourselves?
Well, I'm ready to run in fear right now. No, in all seriousness, no. You made a very good point there. It may be that there's something waiting to emerge,
Yes.
from within someone.
Well, everybody wants to be heard.
Well, of course,
Everybody does
everyone
want
wants
to be heard, even at
listened
the
to.
dinner table. Sit around the dinner table with your family, and everybody wants to
But
be heard.
But if we just see stage fright as the desire, the drive to be heard instead of a problem, and feed the drive by teaching them how to get listened to, it's no longer a problem. It's the opportunity to contribute.
I want to find out about this learning how to get listened to, but I also want to know from Barry if maybe he didn't do a little transference, change his fear over to the eating area, and his fear evidenced itself by a lower diet, and therefore you lost weight, or was it actually something Lee Glickstein's class did?
I think it's being nourished by being connected with other people. And if you shut yourself off and if you're constantly pretending to be somebody that you're not in order to look good or to impress people, or to, if you think that you don't have what it takes to just be present, simply be present, then you do tap dances. And I did it my whole life. And then I joined his group. I looked at a group of people who totally supported me to be present with them. No matter what I did, I didn't have to have a plan.
Most people maybe watching today are saying, you know, I'm not going to be a stand-up comedian. I'm not going to be on the stage. I'm not going to be a singer. Why would I be interested in this?
Well, most people have to either deliver talks at work, perhaps, or a toast. A lot of people come to speaking
toast
circles.
at
I
a
have
wedding?
a toast I have to do at my friend's wedding.
One of the first things I did was a toast, and it was 10 years ago. I was so afraid. The knees knocking thing is true. I took Inderal because I shook so bad, and I couldn't get air in my lungs.
I want to hear more about this. I mean, this air stuck in your lungs with Inderal and all of this stuff. There's a lot more to come. Stay with us.
Just say.
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 Hello.
I used to feel as though I had something really important to say. I've gotten over that. Not just important for me, important for everyone. I thought that was what my life was, just sort of waiting until this wonderful moment arrived when I could talk.
Now, I know you saw a video that may have indicated that none of these people here were in it. But it was this gentleman. This is the transformation that's taking place. It is just amazing. It just fascinates me that as a byproduct of the principles that Lee Glickstein has presented, someone was able to overcome compulsive, eating.
Well, I think that what you're saying is so true in that learning to speak in public has an enormous amount of benefit. It's not just about learning to speak in public.
Well, your ability to speak to your spouse or
Your spouse.
child, to listen
Or the
to
person
your
you run
child.
into in the restaurant.
Anywhere, yeah. To be able to keep your eyes, I say, to keep your eyes in play, to not have to avert our eyes, to be out there with our eyes, which is where we see the soul coming through our eyes, right? And we've learned to avert our eyes.
So did you guys have trouble dating?
that's probably where stage fright comes in.
Is that where it started for you?
Worst
That's where you knew
way.
it was really
I
bad?
remember the first date I went on. I called a girl, and I had a script, literally.
You had a script?
I had a script with all the laugh lines in it. I
With
had
the
a script.
laugh lines
You know,
in
that
it?
was, and I had to go, one line at a
Did
time.
you ever get a
How'd the
date with
date
her?
go?
She actually saw me, and it was terrible because she was
Bad
expecting
script.
that I'd have some of the same jokes, but I didn't know how to write a script for the actual date.
Okay.
Oh,
Now, what's the difference in your speaking circles? Is that what they're called? Speaking
circles,
circles
yeah.
and Toastmasters.
Well, it's a totally different approach to try to get to the same place. Whereas Toastmasters is a nice group, it's a good group, and it's about, in fact, we should ask Barry's been in Toastmasters. It's about more the technique of speaking and moving and memorizing.
And making your speech.
Making the speech as a sort of an external thing, whereas Speaking Circle is about allowing it to emerge through
What are the
relationship.
principles? We've got about a minute left.
Yeah.
Why don't you share with us some of the principles that you try to teach to your students?
Well, we have 2 turns in a speaking circle, 3 minutes and 5 minutes. And in that time, one is in front of the group. Everybody's asked to give the supportive, warm, available eyes. And in that time, the person on stage who's being videotaped is asked to put a priority on noticing the listening and only speak if something comes and only stay with one person at a time. And these instructions, very soon, the person gets it and relaxes into the relationship and only speaks to one person at a time. Public speaking is not to the group.
No, it's not. It's finding the people in the group that you connect
And
with.
once we catch it, it works.
It is easier to talk to. I never thought about that, but it seems to me, yes, it's a whole lot easier to talk to one person than it is to talk to 10. So talk to one.
Or it's easier to talk to 10,000. It was just a big blob.
I don't know. I stood up at Hollywood Bowl, and that light came on.
That was bad.
and 12,000 people out there.
When life...
We'll be back right after this.
Learning a new language can be difficult and discouraging, but it doesn't have to be. Hello, I'm Karen, introducing Hello Channel, the revolutionary new channel designed especially to teach English. If you can speak English, the future is open for you, since speaking English means greater opportunity and higher paying jobs. By watching Hello Channel, you are immersed in this valuable language. You'll hear the words being spoken. You'll see the speakers' mouths when they say the words. You'll read what's being spoken in large, clear subtitles. And you'll speak out loud, practicing what you have just learned. There is no better or faster way to learn a language than total immersion. Hello Channel does exactly that. There's programming on every level so you can watch the shows that are just perfect for you. Whether you've spoken a little English, a great deal of English, or none at all, the Hello Channel has something for everyone. Join us for a convenient, affordable, and fun way to shape your future. There's so much in store for you if you'll just say hello.
When I was about 6 years old, I remember taking something that didn't belong to me. Looking back on that day, it would have been very easy for my dad to lecture me and hope I never did it again. Whatever I took wasn't worth much, but the lesson I learned was worth everything.
Life's most important lessons are best learned in the home. A message from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Now, Lee, you started to tell us some of your techniques. Do we have to go, to San Francisco in order to get these lessons?
I encourage people to start what we call peer support speaking circles. The book gives instructions. People all over the world have created their own peer support speaking circles just from the book.
You mean Tammy could create a circle and I could come in there and get over my fear?
Absolutely. Then we also train facilitators. That's how Barry became a certified facilitator in the Bay Area and on the East Coast, where we train people to do this as a commercial offering. So that's another way people can get involved. Perhaps there are circles in their area if they contact me.
So when you get together in this circle, besides just saying, okay, we give you 3 minutes and we have everybody just sit there quietly loving you until you feel compelled to speak, what else do you do?
Then there's 5 minutes of the same.
Oh, you get to do it
and
again,
I say,
longer.
Let's see where the listening takes you. And then there's positive
this
feedback.
Sounds just a little
what
weird.
About content? When they get ready to speak, what if the guy who's getting ready, who wants to speak, who's had these fears, and he's been overcoming these fears, and he opens his mouth, and we all discover he has absolutely nothing to say.
We never discover that.
We never discover that.
Because in that atmosphere, you find an inner voice. It happens over and over again. First of all, people say they've never had 5 minutes of attention in their lives, some people. And most people say they've never been able to be in front of a group without having to perform. And
it sounds like you are a lot more into just creating people who know how to do good interpersonal relations than speakers.
If you can be present with anybody, including your family, being present with a group
is no different.
It's no
and
different.
Have you found that most groups, and I was sharing this with you, I think, before we started, when you get in front of a group, you have this idea that the group is kind of wanting you to make a mistake, but that really, in fact, is not the case.
There's a few things we've discovered. I wouldn't have predicted this, but there's extraordinary support in the world, and we, human beings, are extremely interesting when we feel listened to. I have not seen anyone who's really dull or boring, contrary to what I even would have predicted.
Now, how long do you have to be in this group? Do you graduate
some people
and now
come
you're good
once,
at it?
Some people come once and that's what they need, and some people come for 8 years, week after week. Their stage fright is gone, but they're exploring different
how skinny
parts
they get
of themselves.
after 8 years.
They fade away.
They just fade away.
Years. That's why I knew some people who were in acting class for 27 years. They didn't work, but that's where they acted. And it gave them, a marvelous sense of self-worth and accomplishment.
There's always new worlds to access within one. The vastness of inner space is just as vast as outer space.
Yeah, but
So has it
we
been
always
more
thought
rewarding
it was kind
to
of
speak
waste of money
or to
if we
teach
didn't do
people
anything.
how?
Both.
What's been most rewarding?
I've got to do both.
You've got to do both.
I love being in front of a group, but I love being behind the camera because we videotape everyone. I love being there and watching people come alive. So I need them both.
Well, you are giving an incredible gift to people. And you
Thank you.
and Barry is a great example of that.
It sure is.
And it's so amazing to me to think some people never get heard. Some people never get listened to. And the experience in your course, your class, gives them that incredible breakthrough of really being heard, of other human beings listening to them. Well, people tell me, Cliff, why don't you shut up sometime? No, they don't. So we have a final word right after this.
Learning English may be the biggest factor in the jobs you can get and the money you can earn. Hi, I'm Michelle, and I want to tell you about Hello Channel, an exciting new channel that teaches you English as you're watching TV. As you watch Hello Channel, you'll see, read, hear, and speak English, and before you know it, you'll be on your way to a better job and a brighter future. All you have to do is say hello.
I hope this edition of Lifestyle Magazine may mean a whole new lease on life for somebody who's viewing right now. In fact, I got a little thing that has happened to me a few times. I stood on a few platforms in a few places, and still I find myself waking in a cold sweat at night before a huge crowd of people with not a thing to say. Does the circle take care of that?
It lets you live that out and live through it beautifully, and then you don't have to do it in real life.
This has been a fascinating presentation, particularly when I discover how it makes such a difference in people's lives, not just on the platform. Thanks so much for being with us, and thank you for joining us here. And I hope that your world changes as a result of this program. And be with us next time here on Lifestyle Magazine. Bye now.